last, as we promised, Thursday is the new Friday, and that is exactly what we are serving you. Now let's get into another interview right here on the show. As you can see, I have a book with me. As you can tell from the title, it is titled After 4:30, written by David G. Mailu. And just to let you know, this book was first self-published in the year 1974. That is more than 50 years ago. And right now it has been adopted and they're playing it out in theater. Yes, that is what is happening. So I will get direct to my guest for the day. We have a director over here, we have an actress, and we have the writer himself, or the author. I'll allow them to just get to introduce themselves better. Let us begin with Mr. David.
Well, I'm David Mailu, simply. Yes.
The author of the book.
The author and other books, of course.
All right,
yes.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Right next to him.
I am Waniki Njashi. I'm a film and theater director. And yes, I'm happy to be here.
All right, happy to have you. The lady.
I'm Karini Njagi. I'm an actor, TV and stage, and it's quite a pleasure to be here.
All right, it's a pleasure to have all of you right here. This, as you have seen the book, but this is its third edition, right? You have the second edition with you.
I do.
Right there,
edition,
yeah.
Yes.
So that was the second edition. This is the third edition. And right now we are having a play out of it. Mr. Milo, if you can just get us into the book. Just tell us.
Saturdays were not working days. So when it changed when it changed to 5 o'clock, it included also working on Saturdays. And so basically the title was based on that. And but the area of the subject matter was actually the lifestyle of people at that time, and what are my own interpretations of what was going on, and human behavior, based on it was very close to the time we got independence, and somehow, you know, living in the city, you could see differences, new young people coming to the city, being employed as secretaries by, you know, working for people trained in Oxford, and so I was trying to address that issue. But it's very difficult to pin it on one particular thing, but this is actually the psychological behavior of people and trying to find their roots. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
How was it like for you as the director now getting to work on this? You know, it's a classic, right? So just how different is it from every other play that maybe you have gotten to work on?
Oh, that's a big one. Now, first I must say that when I read it first, I was in school, I was in secondary school, and I read it hiding because it had a sort of reputation, and so you did not want people to see you reading after 4:30. And when now I read it again with the intention of putting it on stage, I was blown away. First and foremost because what Milo had done is he had lifted the veil of the society in 1974. He had said what people were not willing to say at that particular time. And also what was considered to be, for lack of a better word, pornographic. Now when you read it in today's time, it is very mild. But the other thing that I want to add about what it is about is that not only did it lift the veil on Kenyan society, Nairobi society at that particular time, because he also goes into the rural and how people live and everything, but it is also beautifully written. There is, I believe a book is not just a book, it's not just a story, it's also how it is told. There is poetry in it, there is word usage that I find very uplifting. I mean, I think to me, he wrote like us, like Shakespeare. if you get what I'm saying. Because there are some sections, and maybe I'll read for you one or two before the end of the program, and you can see that the language is beautiful and sweet.
Yeah.
And so it was quite daunting to actually first read it and then see all the things that I missed as a young boy, and then to figure out how to tell such a huge story in 1.5 hours. And that was very difficult to decide what to keep in, what to take out, and I hope that Dr. Milo will forgive me for what I leave out. But I believe that we have a really good play that not only will resonate to the people who are alive in 1974, but with even the Kenyan public at this time. Not actually the Kenyan public, with the world at this time.
Yeah. So were you working hand in hand with Dr. Mailu on it, or you just do your thing and then he comes to see what you guys have?
Well, we have not been working together on this one.
Okay.
So he is, I hear, very excited and maybe fearful of what he's going to see.
Yeah.
But as a director, I've been given the freedom to interpret the work.
Okay.
And I must say that it's an honor and a privilege to do this.
All right.
Yes.
Karimi, you also mentioned off air that you got to read this book in high school as well, Form 2, I guess, also.
Actually, I was in third form. I was in Form 3.
Yeah.
And first, I really need to apologize to the gods and goddesses of books. Because there's something we used to do in high school. When you really want to read a book, and there's so many people who want to read it, we'd separate it into 3 different parts. So someone is reading the beginning, someone else has the middle, someone else has the end.
Oh, really? That's how you were reading the books?
Yes.
Okay.
So I read after 4:30 when I was in Form 3.
Yeah.
And first it didn't even have a cover, because you have to hide the fact that it's after 4:30. It's David Mailu.
It was that bad?
Yeah. So what I used to do, after lights out, blanket, torch. I think that's actually where I started messing up my eyes.
Yeah.
Because, again, I was in a Catholic school. I know the reputation that Dr. Mailu had and his books. I'd probably have been sent to the Vatican for confession. And I don't think I'd have come back up to now.
Yeah.
Because he was considered the most risque writer of that time. And when I look at the book now, I ask myself, what was it really? There were Western writers who wrote more explicit stuff, but the books were on our bookshelves and in the bookshops, but not after 4:30.
Yeah. And now you play
Yes.
in the after 4:30 or for the after 4:30.
Yes.
You know, so just tell me a bit about that, the experience, you know, having having the knowledge that you got to read this book while hiding in Form 3, and now as they adopt it, you know, into a play, you're part of the cast. Tell me about that.
Yes. So I'm playing Betty. And Betty is very many women in this day and age. She's a long-suffering wife. Let's just say she has seen it all, and there's still more that she's going to see. She addresses issues that were pertinent then to today. Philandering husbands, the issue of children, has security as a woman in her marriage. She's also very multifaceted. And one of the things I must say, like Nick has said, there's some sections where it's written like in a verse, not prose. And the first time I read it, again now from an actor's perspective, I thought, oh my God, no, Nick just does not like me, because what is this that he's given me? And I read it again and again and again, and I keep seeing new things that I had not seen the first time that I read it. So this just helps me see how big of a character Betty actually is, and also all the other characters. It's not one dimension. There are very many ways in which you can play these different characters.
Okay. Dr. Milo, clearly this book was like a taboo back then, you know? So I just would love to get into your mind, you know, during those times, you know, back in the year 1974. Just how was that like for you, knowing that, okay, my book is really not like knowing that for some it's not palatable for them. They feel like it is not supposed to be in the libraries, in schools and whatnot. Just get us into your mind during that particular time.
Well, it's when I wrote that, that is not how I looked at it. Yeah. But I do remember at one stage while I was writing, my wife looked at it. My wife, my late wife, was German, and she got very frantic about some sections, saying, "Why are you writing like this?" And then she got used to that. But the thing is, after 4:30 was a development, or my development from another background. Actually, my first book, which was seen, which really exploded, was a very small book. I wrote the first one. It's called Unfit for Human Consumption, and that was the first one. And the second one was My Dear Bottle, and that now My Dear Bottle. If I may, just give you a brief part of it.
Please.
I wrote in my Dear Bottle. There was a there was a poem I had written, critical on Mathare Valley, which was the only slum at that time. But then when I sent the poem to Nation to publish, they didn't. They said, no, we are not going to touch this. So at a later stage, I thought of I thought of creating and drunkard and letting the person say whatever was in the book. So I succeeded. Now the after 4:30 part of it was part and parcel of that. And I come from a different perspective, literary perspective, out of, there were two schools of thought at that time. There were writers who came through the traditional, the Western styled literature, and the British literature, where there are certain things that you shouldn't mention, A, B, C, D, and also the Christianity, religion, going into that. But I was liberated from that. I thought, coming from my background, I have just to say what I thought should be said. And so I touched on that. Now, from if you read the first one, the first Unfit for Human Consumption, comparing that with After 4:30, you discover that After 4:30 is less. It's not as hostile as the first one. But I created the
And we are back. Thank you for staying with us. We had cut you short while you were in the middle of your conversation. Sorry about that. So you can just go on.
So I can continue. Now, I have it's interesting that I'm talking at the place from the place where I had been working. I had actually resigned from KBC, and then I went to writing that book. And but the idea behind it was actually to address the modern the world as it looked at that time, and because I was talking about my background, what I had actually studied, and what my own personal research about people. I was interested in the behavior and the common behavior of people, rather than not the psychologically or the pretentious presentation of people that we are like this and that and when we are not. One particular thing which was not, I don't think I intended to do that, the book after 4:30, it's a book. It's the only book I wrote that in a family you find 3 copies. There is the copy being read by the husband. When he's reading, he doesn't want his wife to read because there are certain parts he thinks that she shouldn't know. And when she's also reading, there are parts that she didn't want the husband to do, and the children, you know. So each group has a copy of that. So I addressed the problem, the social problem within that. That was my interest, rather than, you know, talking about presenting an academic, high-class kind of work. But I was just interested. I addressed what was going on at that particular time.
Moniki, how much have you taken from the book and how much have you not taken from the book? That is, just how different is the play, you know, compared to the original script of the book?
Actually, we have remained true to the writing. So what basically I've done is make a narrative arc of the stories that he's telling, and from the characters that he created in After 4:30.
Yeah.
So, but we decided that we are not going to adopt it to something else or anything else, that we're going to remain true and to keep the integrity of the work. I think it's very, very important to do that, because when you read Shakespeare, it is Shakespeare, isn't it? So for me, I thought, this is Milo, so I should give his writing, his creativity, the same respect that I would give Shakespeare. And so what we have done is kept very true to the text. We are just as bold as he was. We are not afraid to say the things that Milo said. It's only that this time they are going to say it live on stage. Because in essence, what the book is, it's a snapshot of truth. It talks about human relationships. And what was happening then is still happening now. There was still exploitation of women. There was still sexploitation, if we can call it. I mean, these are the same things. There was still femicide. There is areas that he touched on femicide. There are areas he touched on what women are forced to go through to get a job, you know, all those things. And they haven't changed. And it's 51 years later. And that was like, for me, was a revelation. I think as a society, we are not changing. But he had the guts to speak truth. And when he spoke truth, yes, he was vilified. People thought that his book was scandalous and everything like that. And I think that this time we need to write the skills. We need to put Milo where he should be, where this book should be. I believe it's not as scandalous as it was perceived to be. And I believe that the characters that he created are so true to life. Like she was saying, every time you read it, there are more and more layers that you're going through. And the other thing that shocked me is that Dr. Milo was so sensitive to gender in 1974. And he spoke for women in a way that I don't know what kind of insight he had, because when you read it, and I hope you do, you will find quite a bit of it in this book, that the point of view of the woman is, and this is asking my wife, asking other people who have read it, there's even a woman who said she was surprised that this book was actually written by a man. So for me, it's a classic that has been waiting to happen, and I'm hoping that this is exactly what's going to happen, that when we show it on stage, when we bring it on live, that people will have a change, not only of thinking or about his book, but also look at our society critically. And also for the new generation of writers, for them not to be afraid to speak truth.
Yes. And I want to pick up from that. Now, Karemi, you know, with what he's just said, like, society seems to not have changed one bit when it comes to matters women, you know, the challenges that women go through, the way that women are perceived in maybe some other areas and whatnot. Just what what part of your character, the character Betty, do you mostly relate to?
Well, I've not been married. But I guess it would be the frustration of being in a relationship where half the time it's like you're at cross purposes with your partner, because the communication breakdown and you do not know what they're up to, what is going on with them, because they're not communicating with you. And you start imagining your own things, but sometimes you're not actually imagining.
Yeah.
It's actually what is going on. But you want to pretend that it's not. Yeah.
Yeah. But you relate to it.
There are those things, but also, again, I've also seen women in Betty's circumstances.
May not be you, but
yes,
yeah.
They could be relatives, could be friends, women who know exactly what their husband is up to, but they cannot leave because he controls all the finances, or he's an emotional crutch for them. You know that thing of, sasa naenda wapi na watoto watabakia na nani?
Yeah.
Like really, then you don't realize that you're causing more damage to your children. Or they say, no, I'll just stay until the children are 18. It's the children who are keeping me here. Really? Is it really the children? Or is it because the women can think that they cannot be on their own and still make it in life? Yeah, I've seen very many women like that. Again, where a woman is battered left, right, and center, but she keeps going back. She keeps going back. Why? So you can imagine now, this is in the 70s, and we're still addressing the same issues
now.
Today, half a century later. So I guess it's that thing of binadamu ni yule yule.
Which is unfortunate.
Yes.
It is very unfortunate. Now, Dr. Milo, just what is your expectation, with a play? Going to watch it now, not knowing what exactly they've decided to show and whatnot. Just what are you expecting as you go to watch the play?
I'm just curious, after writing, you write as an individual person, but the reaction, how people react to what you have written, has always amazed me, because there are times that they see things which you didn't see while you were writing. And my expectation is, I'm just curious to see their own interpretation of the same work. And because the more people read and the more you interact with them, the more you also discover yourself. This is very strange, and it will also make me try to understand myself much better. But the beginning is that I said what I had to say, and then people can interpret that from different directions. But it's quite exciting to see how people see you and what they make out of you. And that has been, I have been curious about that.
I can imagine.
Because you sit down and you are alone when you are writing that, and when the work goes out, you discover that you have actually spoken for people, and you have said very many things. And you also try to understand yourself. You are part and parcel of the society. This is it. And my interest has always been to address. I have a story to tell. I want to say something. I look for the right words with which to deliver that. And after that, well, I leave it to people to feel the way they do. But of course, writing is also something exciting. You do that, you sit down and create a whole world within yourself and do it, but only to discover that you have actually been talking to people. The characters in your work represent also the characters in day-to-day life.
Yeah. Hi, Moniki, you had mentioned you would love to read some excerpts from the book. Maybe if you can pick one. I hope it's not scandalous.
No, it is.
Don't believe the scandalous.
I found this quite interesting, because I found it quite poetic. It's in verse. I waited for him with many thoughts, ready for everything, since survival is a thing through many fires. I listened to the clock ticking time away as the storm of life carried me to nowhere I knew. I was held by suspense of the wish to live to see the next day. For 6 months that he had lied to me, he had a way of carrying my hope forward, and I followed him, hoping he'd turn to face me and tell me what I wanted to hear, that I was a human being. I find that so beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's written from the heart, I believe.
It's
and
deep, you know.
there's so many words that he has put together that mean so much.
I have not been aware of that.
Now I get when you say, you know, that you just read through it and you realize that it's been written so beautifully.
Yes.
You know, there's a way you had said it, like you just get to read it and you realize that the writer was up to something while writing it, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's not just the story, it's actually also the way that it is told. It's like a presentation. You can make a meal and then when you put it down there, it doesn't look good. It might taste good, but when you arrange it nicely and present it, then it looks even more delicious, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so that's how I find his writing.
All right, and of course the casts, when it comes to plays, the cast actually are the people who bring these things to life. So I'd love to know, I don't know if you were part of picking the cast members, just what went into picking the right cast members for this play?
Okay, without letting out the secrets of the trade. Anyway.
You can tell us, you won't shout about it.
I've been in this industry for a while, and then when I read the book, because I think before I even started deciding on what parts to put in and everything like that, I think I read it about 6 times, and some people popped into my mind. And so the moment we decided that we're going to do it as a play and everything like that, and I started adopting it, I already had in mind people that I had worked with before. And also I was looking for people who were ready to try something new. People who are adventurous, not only in acting but also in spirit. People who are ready to take on something that has never been taken on before, because it's experimental, and at the same time you're translating a work of art that also you're kind of afraid of, and that actually played a very big part in deciding on Karemi, on Nice Gidenji, on Martin. These are people I've watched not only on TV, but I've also watched them. Some of them I've also directed on stage. And I also needed, again, I was looking for actors who would speak truth to me. People who are not afraid to tell me, no, I don't think this doesn't work. Because it's collaborative. It's not, if I was to tell them, say this way or do this way, then it will be Mwaniki on stage, not Betty. So what we have done actually is to try and discover these characters and bring them to life as best as the cast can interpret the characters. So that's what went into it. It's people who are not afraid to try something new, and people who are also professional about it. These guys are good. I can say that here without
They are. The cast,
without any doubt.
The cast of that particular play is of people who have been in the scene for a long while. So I believe they have honed their craft and they know what they do, right? For sure.
Absolutely.
Karemi, just without letting out too much, was there a particular scene that you would say, or is there a particular scene that you can say was a bit challenging for you to perform?
Yes.
Without letting out too much, but tell us a bit of it.
As I told you,
Yeah.
each time I read my script,
Yeah.
I see layers and layers of Betty. And with this Mr. Director, who he's amazing to work with, he'll stretch you beyond your limits. Let's just say I have wailed during rehearsals where you just break down.
Oh, wow.
You know, because
Yeah.
it's quite an emotional bit.
Yeah.
But then also as an actor, as you also dig deep into how far you're willing to go with this character, and you realize it's like to infinity. There's so much going on, so you just let it out. And Nick tells you, you better let it out now before the show opens.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I have wailed, literally, you know, ugly crying of,
Yeah.
Makamba, see the works.
Now, how do you deal with that? And you know, for play, it's not like television whereby we can cut and then let's do it again, you know, now get a hold of yourself. Though we need to see the emotions, but I just would want to get to understand how you're able to maintain, you know, to maintain yourself throughout the play, and how you also get to now get out of being Betty after you're done with it.
So you see, that is why Nick keeps telling me, let it out now. Let it all out now.
Yeah.
So that when the show opens, I'll be able to know where the floodgates open and how to control it. Yeah? And as for derolling, for me to stop being Betty,
Yeah.
we do a speed walk from wherever the rehearsal space is into town. And when I get home, I'll walk barefoot just to grounding.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I do not touch my script again until the following day. Yes.
Wow, it's a lot of work. It can be a lot, especially for, I imagine, especially for, how do I put it? For scripts that need you to be emotional, you know, whereby you really need to get into yourself. I don't know how to put it, but I can only imagine just how that is, whereby, well, it's quite draining, but
Yes,
then
it is.
again, it's a character you're playing. And when you're playing a character, you get to feel them, you get to be them. But then again, there's your life as you. Now you need to de-roll from that and just, I think therapy is needed, no?
Like a cold white cup. No, I just didn't say it. Well, I think I'm okay. I mean,
Okay.
with because I've been at this for a couple of years. Yeah. So, but there are times when there's that beat, and I'll call Nick, and I mean Mwaniki, and talk to him. If I have to vent, I'll vent at him, and you know. I guess it's part of his job also as a director. He's the one who cast me.
Yeah. So it's on him.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Dr. Milo, would you have done it any other way?
That's like asking a mother when she has one child, would you have done a better job?
Yeah.
I did that, and well, I have done other works, but to me, it's interesting and exciting to hear how people interpret what I did.
Yeah.
And this is the beauty of it. But what I said in that book, is different from what I have said in other works, but I'm still addressing the human story. This is the thing. You can only do it in sections like, your body, you have legs, you have that, you have hair, you have that. And one particular one is addressing that, and another time you are addressing that. So, so I don't think I would have done better or worse than I did. And, but it's interesting to listen to how people see what you did. and also speak for you. The lady here and the gentleman, they make me feel somewhat embarrassed. You know? Well, good. That is the beauty of it.
Yeah.
I like it that way.
Right.
Maybe, and that encourages me to write more and more. And I have been writing since that, yes, since that time. And that's one. Maybe it opens up for other works. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, as we get to finish off this interview, maybe Monique, I would give you the opportunity to try and just tell us what you would love the people or the audience that will come to watch to get off of the play.
Okay. I think I could sum it up in one word, and that is truth. Truth of human condition. And that's why I love the work, because I think what Milo did, he told truth of the characters, and like even Karimi said, you can see, when you read, you can see a neighbor, a sister, a brother. And my prayer is that whoever comes out, whoever comes to watch the show will come out changed. That they will not again look at the issues of gender, the issues of women, and even of men. Even though some might think that the book really attacks men, and some people do think that, but it also opens a point, like the husband, just to digress a little bit, the husband thinks that, and he believes that as long as he has provided, there is a home, there are children, there is money, so what else does the wife need? And I'm sure you must have heard that. So I'm hoping when people come there, they can recognize themselves. They can recognize the truth in themselves, the truth in other people, and that we as a nation, or even should we take this out to the rest of the world, we can actually start looking at gender in a different way.
Right.
And to know that the actions or the words that we speak actually affect people.
Okay.
And these are human beings. Like I read there, I wanted him to see me
As a human being?
as a human being. Yes.
Okay. So when is it showing, where, all of that? Tell us all about that.
Okay, so the book launch is going to be on June 28th at Sarakasi Dome in Ngara from 2 o'clock to 6 p.m. Though we'll have the book signing, meet the author and all. The play starts at 4:30.
Yeah.
Then we shall have another July 4th to
July
the
4th,
6th
yes.
at the Louis Leakey auditorium at the museum.
Right.
Oh, and entrance is a copy of the book, 1,200.
Okay.
Yes.
So getting a copy of your book.
Yes, that's
which
for
is
the
amazing.
launch.
For the launch.
Play, you pay differently?
Will be differently. That will be for ticket sales.
Yes.
But for the launch, your entrance into the Sarakasi Dome on the 28th is a copy of the book.
All right, and this is the copy of the book. That is after 4:30. As you've heard from them, it's quite, it's something that you would to watch it, because there's reading, yes, and then you see it being live. That should be amazing. So you should plan yourself and get to go and watch it at the Sarakasi Dome. Thank you so very much, gentlemen and lady, for joining me for this conversation. And I hope to come for the play, and I guess I'll see you there. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
All right, this is where we end this particular conversation, but Entertainment Thursday gets to continue. Cosmic, the DJ, will be on the decks, just ensuring that we have our dancing shoes on. Don't go too far.